Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Monday review time, and unfortunately, it was the latest of narrowest of heartbreaking defeats for Neil Harris's Gills at the weekend. After fending resolutely and resiliently, and at points heroically for 95.5 minutes, we were undone in the final seconds of the game as Nathan Broadhead had it home and Elliot Embleton crossed to see the Gills defeated by 1-0 at the Stadium of Light in front of 30,000+ fans. Team news was announced at 2 o'clock, and the news that a lot of Gills fans were fearing was confirmed. Stuart O'Keefe, the captain, was unavailable for selection. The natural replacement, who'd got half hour in last week's 2-1 win at Accrington, Daniel Phillips, was also not in the 18 or 16, unfortunately, as things panned out, because Gills could only name 5 substitutes. So it was academy product Josh Chambers that came in for a first professional start, and he started in a 3-5-2. So that team in full for the Gills was Aaron Chapman in goal. 3 centre-backs were Jack Tucker, Max Amar, Connor Masterson. Wing-backs of David Tatonda and Ryan Jackson. Then it was Chambers, Ben Thompson and Oliver Lee in the middle. And it was Charlie Kelman with Dane Oliver up front. And like I say, we only had 5 options from the bench, such as the injury crisis again ravaging the squad. First half, we knew we weren't going to have lots of the ball. We didn't have hardly any of it. We only have to look at Sunderland's resources, Sunderland's riches at this level. And the game followed a familiar pattern throughout the 90 minutes. Patrick Roberts was the first one to get into a dangerous area, cutting onto his left foot, and a shot was deflected over for a corner, which we defended fairly well. Charlie Kelman, again, working really, really hard out of possession, wasn't he? Couple of times he was closing down full-backs, centre-backs, and there was one time he nearly pinched it to try and get for Dane Oliver in, but it wasn't to be. Couple more corners for Sunderland throughout the half. One where Aaron Chapman got caught in slightly no man's land, but we weren't punished. The header drifted wide, thankfully. Oliver Lee tried his luck from distance. It drifted wide. It was blocked, sorry, not drifted wide. And then there was a bit of pinball. I think it was Chambers had a shot that hit an arm. It was never a penalty. Big chance of the game come shortly after, though, for the home side, didn't it? Luke O'Nien headed a ball against the crossbar from a Jack Clark cross from the left-hand side. Got in between the centre-backs. Good movement, good run. Chapman would have had no chance, but luckily, from our point of view, hit the top of the crossbar and bounced over. Then we had our first sight at goal. Ball over the top. And Charlie Kelman, left foot on the run, narrow angle. Snapshot on the half volley. Fizzes over the bar. I think the keeper would have saved it, to be honest, if it was on target. He was covering his near post. It was a ridiculous angle, but that's the confidence that Charlie Kelman's playing with at the moment. I would imagine a month ago he wouldn't have even taken the shot on. A decent enough stop then from Aaron Chapman, wasn't there? Patrick Roberts again on that left foot trying to bend one far post, and Chapman got big hands on it. And then the final 15 minutes of the half actually settled down, and we became fairly comfortable. We defended our box really well all half, aside from the Luke O'Nien header. Aaron Chapman had dealt with pretty much everything, and we weren't offering much of a threat, and we'd not seen hardly any of the football, but we're away to Sunderland, one of the giants of English football historically, and certainly one of the giants in this league. So half-time, 0-0, a job well done, but a job still to do. First 15 minutes of the second period followed that of the final 15 minutes of the first. It was fairly quiet, it was attritional. Sunderland were having all the ball, but they weren't getting in behind, they weren't threatening us. We were standing firm, defending properly again, which is what we've done pretty much throughout Neil Harris's reign since he arrived. David Tatonda got across into a box for Dane Oliver. Didn't get enough purchase on it. That was his only real sight of goal all afternoon, despite working really hard again. There was a snapshot from the left-back of Sunderland, Dennis Searching, straight down the throat of Aaron Chapman, which he dealt with comfortably. Jack Tucker, it seemed that second half things were attracted to him, and he was making some unbelievable blocks, tackles, as were everyone. Again, I've said this plenty of times, that's been a trait of this Neil Harris side, that players are willing to get hurt, take things in the stomach, the face, the head, do anything to keep the ball away from our goal. And it's served us very well over the last 2 months, hasn't it? But yeah, there was one particular bit of defending from Jack. I think the ball came in from the right-hand side, fizzed across the 6-yard box, and it looked for all the world that Ross Stewart had been fairly quiet all afternoon. I thought Tucker, Masterson and Emar had marshalled him really, really well. But it just looks like he's going to have a tap in, and Jack manages to get round him and get a block in, which goes out for a corner. There's another chance shortly after for Sunderland as they started to, press and probe a lot more again. We've seen the tweets of the Gills social media team towards the end, kitchen sinks, cupboards, utensils, sofa, everything. But before then, we were still fairly comfortable. The big chance comes when there's a ball over the top. We think there's an offside. He gets squared to Corey Evans, 18 yards out. He doesn't even hit the target. And he's in the middle of the goal. He's just got to hit the target, and he blazes it over Aaron Chapman's goal. And we breathe again. And we're getting to that stage now where you start thinking this is going to be a massive point. Don't forget that Morecambe and Fleetwood were winning. It's not something we've been used to. We've been picking up points where all them teams around us have been stumbling. So it was a new situation. But the job for us was to make sure that we got our job over the line before worrying about anything else. And then the sucker punch in the 96th minute. Elliot Embleton off the bench. Nathan Broadhead off the bench. Embleton right-hand side cuts in onto his left foot. It's a good ball. There's no point pretending otherwise. And it's good movement from Broadhead, who'd come on to try and change the game because Ross Stewart had struggled all afternoon. Is Jack Tucker at fault? Potentially. He gets a little bit stuck under it, doesn't he, Jack? He doesn't really give himself a run on it. Broadhead certainly does, and it's a great header into the bottom corner. Jack can only watch, heartbroken, devastated as Aaron Chapman forlornly dives towards it, but he's not getting anywhere near it. It nestles in the corner, and Broadhead was off, shirt off around his head, got booked. Ridiculous decision to book someone for celebrating a goal and taking their shirt off. But can Ryan Jackson help Jack Tucker out? He's the covering defender. He can see. Has he given Jack Tucker a shout to say there's a man blindsided him slightly? It's gut-wrenching. Yeah, I must admit, I wasn't there. I've watched the game back since. The phone got lobbed across the sofa. As angrily as you can lob a phone across the sofa without wanting to break it. And yeah, it was a kick in the nuts, like Neil Harris has described it. The gap's 2 points now, isn't it, to the bottom four. See plenty on social media after the game. A lot of Sunderland fans, not all, particularly not many that I follow. Gills got what they deserve, time wasting from minute one, anti-football, that type of thing comes out again. End of the day, it means we've done something right because we've turned up with 16 professionals. We've started the game with a youth player. We've ended the game with another youth player. And for 95 and a half minutes, we look like we're earning a point. I get Sunderland probably deserve 3 points based on possession, territory, the chances they have created. But in terms of how we defended our box, how we stayed in our shape, how we manfully blocked everything that came our way, I'd say we deserved a point based on 95 and a half minutes. But you don't always get what you deserve in football. Sunderland, like I say, all their fans will be saying it's just reward and just desserts for us. But I'm not sure what they expected us to do to turn up. We've got our captain injured. We've got pretty much our most creative influences injured. The youth player that started come off injured. So we're not going to go up there and try and play Sunderland off the park, are we? We don't have the personnel to do it. Neil Harris has been very clever in what he's done since he's arrived, and that's make us difficult to beat. We're 30 seconds away from the perfect away performance, aren't we? Such is life. Sunderland, enjoy your win. Good luck for the playoff push. Your fans, on the whole, are absolutely brilliant and are very knowledgeable as to why you're in League One. Their bench probably all walks into our 11. That's what we're up against. Jermaine Defoe retired last week. But it is what it is. Like we've said, it's a kick in the nuts, but we dust ourselves off. We've got a week on the training ground. Big night Tuesday for us, though, without playing. Morecambe, Fleetwood and Wimbledon all do play their games in hand, so we'll have a better idea come 10:15 Tuesday night of where we are. But we're still in there, still kicking and screaming and still fighting, which wasn't possible, we didn't think, when Neil Harris took over. In terms of best black cat on display, there was some really good performances, wasn't there? Alex Pritchard's too good for this level. Ross Stewart, very good at this level, but he was kept quiet, which was good on our part. Defenders and goalie had an easy afternoon, let's be honest. There's no point dressing it up any other way. Luke O'Nien plays anywhere for you. But I thought Jack Clark was a real threat and a real handful for Sunderland on the afternoon. He should have an assist, shouldn't he, first half? His ball into the box that Luke O'Nien crashes against the crossbar when it's probably easier to hit the target. Played 90 minutes, Clark, on loan from Tottenham, I think it is. 86% passing completion. Provided 4 key passes, so he's having an influence in the final third. Goes on the outside really well, can cross with his left foot. Came in a couple of times on his right foot and crosses that in-swinger, which is always dangerous to defend as well. Took 4 shots, I think 1 on target, 2 off target, 1 blocked as well. So he had a real influence, Jack Clark, without being directly involved in the winner. And yeah, he looks a real prospect. And again, he shouldn't be playing in League One, should he? But for me, best black cat, Jack Clarke. In terms of the Gills player ratings, it's tricky to gauge, isn't it? As an attacking force, we were not really involved, let's be honest. It was never a game for Charlie Kelman and Verdane Oliver. Ben Thompson was having to do all of his work without the ball. If you look at the amount of completed passes for the Gillingham midfield, it's not high at all. And that gives you an idea of how the game was played and where the game was played. Aaron Chapman, 6.5, flapped it across. Generally solid, though, made a couple of saves that you'd expect him to make. Like I said after the Accrington game, saves you'd expect him to make in his current form. Back three, Connor Masterson, Max Emer, we gave 7s. Jack Tucker, we've spoken about him being potentially slightly at fault for the goal. I thought he was immaculate up until that point, was really, really good. 7.5 for Jack. We're getting him back to where we need him to be. In terms of the wing-backs, I've got Ryan Jackson, 6.5, and David Tatonda, 6. Both were pressed back for the majority, so it was never a game where they were going to get on the overlap, get loads of balls into Sunderland box. Jackson's throw-ins were a threat a couple of times. Tatonda, again, had to do most of his work defensively. Midfield, Ollie Lee, 6. Tough for him in there. Not a natural holder. You know my opinion on that. Didn't influence the game in forward areas because we were under the cosh. So a 6 out of 10. A 6 for Josh Chambers. Didn't disgrace himself at all. Played 70 minutes before coming off with a knock or cramp or something. But a really hard place to go and make your debut against a side that had around 80% of the ball. Ben Thompson, energy, boundless as always. Did try and make things happen when he got the ball in the right areas, but nothing really came off because the ball kept coming back towards our half too quickly. So 6.5 for Ben. Front two, Verdane Oliver, Charlie Kelman. Hopeless task, really. Let's be honest. 6 for both. Never shirked a challenge, never stopped working hard. But yeah, one of them afternoons that wasn't for our attackers. In terms of the substitutes, Ben Reeves a 6 and Bailey Hakehurst not applicable. I think Akehurst was brought on to try and run down the clock, and unfortunately that bit us on the arse slightly. But those are my Gills match ratings. In terms of a Gills man of the match, I'm going to go for Jack Tucker. I thought for 95.5 minutes, it was absolutely superb. And I've said this about our centre-halves for weeks now. They all know their roles within that back three. Max Emer's settled really well into that central role. And he's been flanked superbly by Masterson and Tucker. And I thought Jack Tucker was brilliant on the afternoon and probably deserved his clean sheet. But as I've already mentioned, you don't always get what you deserve. Sunderland fans would probably have a different opinion, so we did get what we deserved. But that's for them to talk about. Jack Tucker, 90 minutes played, 5 clearances, 4 blocks, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles. But key for me was never dribbled past once, which I thought was an astounding stat considering the amount of ball that Sunderland had, the amount of times they was in our half. The fact that they had people like Patrick Roberts and Jack Clarke were very good with a ball at their feet. Alex Pritchard, who keeps it all day. He's got really good feet in central areas as well. Harsh on Jack. I've noticed that Max Emer's come out in the press and backed him up regarding the goal. But I don't think he's done loads wrong. It's not a massive error. So I hope that people don't jump on the bandwagon and start saying, oh, he's cost us the game. Because if it wasn't for him, we could have been 2-0 down before that point. So for me, Gills man of the match was Jack Tucker. Tough one to take at the weekend. Seconds away from a really good clean sheet and another good point. So coupled with Fleetwood's win and Morecambe's win, the gap has been cut to safety now. We're only 2 points above the line. Like I say, we'll have a better idea Tuesday evening of what's going on. We can't change it. We can get on a training pitch. Hopefully we can get a few people back for next Saturday. Hopefully the skipper will be available. Daniel Phillips, maybe someone like Mustafa Carriel. Fingers crossed. 5 big games, 5 cup finals, to coin a cliche. We need fans to turn up for these 3 home games, don't we? We need fans to travel to the last 2 away games at Cheltenham and Portsmouth. And I'm sure if we keep putting in performances like we have been, we'll be okay. Right, that is enough from me. Hope your Monday is not too stressful, as I say, every single week. I will catch up with you later on in the week for a match preview of the Wycombe game. We'll be back Saturday for a match day live. But until then, up the Gills.